Eric, welcome on. I am in my boardroom actually right now, and I'm not hooked in like I normally am through my camera. I usually go through the camera, I stream in 1080p, and we do it directly hooked in straight to the computer. Today we're gonna do it by my phone. So on my iPhone, I don't know how crisp it's gonna be, and I got this wireless jig hooked into this Joby that's hooked into my phone, and so I'm wireless. I don't know how that's turning out. I don't know if the Wi-Fi 50 feet away of my box is connecting okay. Hey Eric, how you doing? Flox 94110, you're good. Awesome. Megan Evans, you're live. Cornelio, hey. Syed, how you doing? Good to see you guys on. Welcome to the Wise Wealth Show. Looks pretty good, sound is good. Okay, cool. So I might actually walk around my house, which would probably make a few people dizzy, but if you guys really want, I'm willing to do that. I want to do a video later on my actual on what this house is and what it's meant to be. And the house that I live in now is this massive, it looks very deceiving from the front because it looks like a bungalow from the front, but it's got eight plus a boardroom, bedrooms and 5 bathrooms. So it's a pretty big house. I don't live in all of it. I have portions that are set up, like my business partner lives in the back half of it, and in the basement we've got a lower secondary dwelling unit kind of thing going on. It's been there since the 80s when it was built. But anyway, so we're talking today on the Wise Wealth Show about how to retire early. Michael Chung, welcome on. Good to see you on. A lot of the regulars popping on. Give it a minute for people to jump on here. And if you're just jumping on, please smash that like button. I'd much appreciate it. Now, today's video is about how to retire in 5 years, right? That was sort of the topic, but we can go wherever you guys want with it. Your questions kind of determine where we go with this. So it's up to you guys where we go in this show. But I wanted to talk at a high level about a few things that I think are really, really important. Don Trin, good to see you on. Welcome to the live stream where we talk about all things personal finance and real estate related. But in this segment, I watched a really good video. For those people who don't know Samuel Leeds, check him out. He's out of the UK there, has a great YouTube channel with a ton of awesome content on it. And I've just kind of discovered him just by chance. And I watched the video he just premiered and put out, and it was him undercover for a full week. He's a multimillionaire, similar to myself, very similar, teaching people, doing courses and stuff like that, and a YouTube channel and all that, giving a ton of value away. He doesn't even put ads on his channel. He's super authentic. I love the way he's coming across in the videos that I've seen so far. And so I reached out to him on Instagram. I was like, man, I want to come see you. I'm going to fly to Europe. I want to come see you. And it'd be so cool. But anyway, he did an undercover video. Yes, I'll get to that in a sec, Alex, with books that I recommend 100%. Anyway, his channel, he did this video. I shared it on my Facebook group. For those people I have on the YouTube channel, I think I've talked about this before, but I'll plug it again. Fired Up Finance is a YouTube group that I create, or a Facebook group that I created that's designed for all of my subscribers to join in on and invite their friends or whatever, or a place where we can chat about things like real estate, entrepreneurship, all of the different intricate pieces attached to that. Alex Perez, welcome. Hi, my first time in the live chat. Thanks for sharing your wisdom with the world. Greetings from Palm Springs, California. Sorry, it's on my phone, so it's hard to see that. Yeah, awesome. Welcome to the stream. Happy to share, happy to continue to share what I learned, what I've come across. Yeah, I'll get to that in a second, Jason. More or less, just so I wasn't relying on the Wednesday thing, it was just easier to say the Wise Wealth Show. People aren't searching from a keyword perspective Wednesdays, but they are searching, I think, to learn about wisdom and wealth. And so bringing those two things together, being smart with your money. I was going to call it the Smart Money Show, but I think one already existed very similar to that. So I just call it the Wise Wealth Show, which is a play and alliteration, Wise Wealth, WW. So it kind of is a bit of an alliteration as it rolls off the tongue. It's not something really people are searching probably, but at some point down in the future, the Wise Wealth Show could be something where I was thinking I was going to bring guests on and do this whole big thing with the Wise Wealth Show, and it's something I do want to do and expand in 2019 under one of my goals is to really blow the show up. But back to what I was talking about with Samuel Leeds, really cool guy, great YouTube channel. Check him out, by the way. He just did an undercover video that's something I want to do. I have a video of I have a document on my computer with 100 video ideas, and one of them was actually proving anyone could retire in like a week, a month, or a year. I was going to do like a longer period of time, right? Because I didn't think it was possible in a week. But of course, Daniel, taking on the big goals, says, you know what? I'm going to pretend that I'm not a multimillionaire. And he literally goes undercover in a different city with $50 in his pocket and gets himself a week stay in a hotel and says, I have a week in order to effectively build myself a future. Like I have no money, I have nothing, I have no job, I have to start making money. He goes and does like the rent hacking scenario, so the rent to rent thing, where he goes and looks at a bunch of places and lines up a couple of places that he can then put on booking.com and Airbnb and all those places. But he has to find an investor to put up the $5,000 deposit, and then he tries to basically wholesale some deals at the same time, and he goes to networking events. He starts by just looking at dozens of properties. Says I have a pile of money, talks to a bunch of agents, goes and looks at a bunch of properties, and then, I don't want to spoil the whole thing for you, but it's a really cool episode because he actually does prove that he set up his living situation where he can take one of the bedrooms and live for free in an expensive city like, I think it's in Sheffield that he does it, but in an expensive city, you could set up a scenario where you could live rent-free because basically you rent out a duplex or a full house, you segment part of that off, you rent that other part out, and then you live for free. Well, the rent is entirely being covered by the additional proceeds that you're getting. So people do this all the time in Toronto, Vancouver, in New York, in LA. They rent places out and they rent them out again for more money. It's called a sublet. You can also do it on a short-term booking where you take a long-term rental and then you short-term rent it out. And you can make, if your rent, say $3,000, you can put it on Airbnb and make $8,000-$10,000 a month. People are making huge spreads, net of cleaning fees, less all the expenses associated with that. And you can even set up a management company to run everything for you and still make a profit, which is what he does. Yeah, so it's kind of really cool. Totally doable. A lot of people do it in the market. I know people who do this I have people doing this in Chicago, in Miami, everywhere. And landlords they're cool with it, by and large. So I saw something pop up here. Megan Evans, good question. I don't understand how he convinced landlords to let him do the rent situation. I'm a landlord, and if someone proposed that to me, I'd laugh them right off my property. Megan, good point. I think some of it comes in the guise of saying maybe he doesn't disclosing fully what he's doing. And you got to remember, in a place like where he is in the UK, rent control is very strong. Tenants have all the rights, just like here in Ontario, Canada, just like in places like California, just like places like Vancouver. Rent controls are very, very, all of the rules are tenant focused. So actually, if you go rent a house in Toronto for $2,000, I saw a house for rent. It was a $1.4 million house for like $2,500 a month plus utils. Now that's insane. You can control, and I'm talking literally control an asset like a house for $2,400 a month. It's a $1.5 million asset. That is insane. The mortgage payment would be $6,000-$7,000 a month. These people own these properties from a long time ago, and so they're basically irrationally renting these out for way below what it even costs to service the property. They're losing money each and every month. There's tons of landlords who bought these properties a long time ago and are saying, I don't really care that I'm losing money. Oh shoot, my phone's gonna die. Gotta plug in. Get us some power. All right, guys, you're gonna get a quick tour. By the way, welcome. My office is a mess. I'm sorry. Whiteboards, stuff going on. Give you a quick tour. Laundry's in there. It's really loud because we're running laundry cycles right now. But you got an idea? Laundry room. Ba, 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 ba. And okay, this is the one main floor ensuite bathroom. It's got a bidet in it. Actually has after it rinses your butt, it dries it with there's like a drying feature, which is insane. My business partner gets the nicest washroom in the house, of course. Gonna make my washroom that nice at some point, but there you go. You guys get a feel for some of the bouginess of this back unit. This is our office, and I'm not gonna really show you his room because there's a huge room there, but yeah. Anyway, it's like 12 by 12, and then our boardroom out here, and then clients can come in through the vestibule area, and then there's a separate entrance down to the basement. We're gonna get my charger upstairs though. I'll give you guys another time to tour down there. It's a huge 3+ bedroom apartment down there, 1,500 square foot in that basement. Okay. Skylight. It's gonna run up to my room here, guys. Stay with me. All 26 of you, I'm serious. There's my charger. Sorry, we're in my bedroom. Apologies. Yeah. Sorry, something. It's the other washroom. We have an ensuite as well. All right. Emma's snuck in. She's snuck into the boardroom. All right, let's get this plugged in here. Hopefully the Wi-Fi is staying consistent and stable. I don't know. I don't know if it is. Someone let me know if you are still with me. Is anyone still able to see me? Oh, Emma Lynn, I can hear her in the background playing. I did. I brought it on myself. I definitely did. I need a longer cord. This is brutal. Let's try and set it up. Oh, what the heck? Hang on. Apologies, guys. My chair's sick. There, now I'm closer. We're gonna have to shoot it kind of in a weird way. I'm gonna move the light, stay close to the outlet. The iPhone charger cords suck. They're so short. So we are stuck with a limiting amount of, there, how's that? I'm gonna move the light too so you guys aren't stuck staring at a really, really bright light. Whoa, kind of an angle there, isn't it? Let's fix this. Okay. Plug this. Get out of there. Okay. We are at least live. We do have power now. Phone won't die. Okay, let's move this light. Stay with me, people. Don't abandon. Oh, sure. Move it over. Move the light. I have new lights we're adding in. There's just no bulbs in them right now, so soon we'll get more lights again. I guess you probably see my mastermind boards. I have 2 huge mastermind boards that run across this, which are essential to planning up whiteboards here. I love whiteboards. Big fan of whiteboards. Let's see if this light here is okay. Create too much shadow, I think. Move away. Is that better? People still here? Batwood, how you doing? Isaiah, how you doing? Don Davies, I see your message. Don't run it around. And Megan, I'm gonna answer your question in just a second. Sony, how you doing? Cut out a few times, but still good. Okay, so I'm sorry if we got cut out there. My apologies. I had to grab my charger. Battery went from like 50% to like 20% in such a short amount of time. And we're quite a ways away from, I wonder if I could go over here like this. Whoa, oh, didn't like that at all. It did not like that at all. No, I can't. I gotta leave it here. I'm sorry. The cord is just too small. I'm on a tiny extension cord. This is such a pain in my butt. I should just use my regular software. Okay. Joby, stay. The cord is like literally dangling out of my phone. Okay. Nope. You stay. There. Okay. It's set up. We have power. I didn't think of power before I did this live stream. My bad. There. I can inch it just an inch forward. You guys can see my dream board over there, but whatevs. Okay. Come on. People still with me? 28 people are still watching. Good for you guys. Good for you. Seriously. There. We're plugged in. We have power. The stream will not die. Welcome, Sony, Don, Dominic, I see you there. William, Megan, yeah, okay. So I'm gonna answer some of those questions and jump back up in a second here, but really cool about how you retire early, right? What is the secret? Ryan Powell, how you doing? Good to see you on. What is the secret to retiring early? Well, there are a lot of intricate little pieces, I think, to retiring early that are, please let me know the microphone is still live. Tell me if there's still power. I got a really nice shaver for Christmas, and then I got a really nice razor kit. Oh, against the grain, it's beautiful. I'm like clean as a baby's bottom right now, which is fantastic. Gabriel, greetings from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Hey, I was in Rio in 2014. I went to Rio for a honeymoon, actually. We went on our honeymoon to Rio. It was really cool. Awesome place to go. 33 people, cool. I'm glad everyone's on. So what are some of the secrets to retiring early? There are several, but I'm going back first, I think, to Samuel Leeds' undercover video because it was awesome and inspirational, and I want to it's still on my bucket list to do my own, even though he's done it and probably done it better than I can do it. At least it's been done. So anyway, I'm gonna probably do one and prove that it's possible in Canada, because everyone's just gonna say, oh, that can't be done here in London, Ontario, Canada. That can't be done in California. No landlord would let me do rent to rent. No one would ever assign me a deal if I was broke, and that's not necessarily the case. There are a lot of people here I know that are actually doing this right now in the market. So there are lots of ways to reach early retirement. One of them is through real estate. You can hyper accelerate your journey, like insanely fast. Hey, from Boston. Cool, cool. I don't know if anyone's from Boston. I guess we'll find out. So the big thing here being, I think it's your perception or your outlook on how you approach the problem. And they don't ask the right questions. Austin, hey, good to see you on. Isaac, Oliver. Yeah, it's probably someone watching. I mean, in my subscriber base of, I don't know, 40 something hundred that are subscribed, and then another, I think 10,000 or so people that occasionally jump on my channel and find me but don't subscribe. If you watch this replay and you haven't subscribed, click that subscribe button, click the notification bell. Really appreciate that. Shameless plug, don't care. What we're doing here is trying to engineer this problem. So what is the problem, and why or how do we solve this problem, right? So the major complaints you get are, well, my housing is too expensive in my area, right? So I could never early retire. I live in LA, right? I live in Toronto, or I live in Vancouver or New York, or I live in Shanghai. What do? I cannot retire. So for one, I have a solution for that. Of course, Samuel Leeds comes at it from a real estate perspective. Michael Chung, okay, see you later. Excited to see you come down in January. Michael Chung is going to come down in January and is going to learn. He's going to mentor with me and shadow and just kind of absorb all there is to absorb on a full-time basis, which is really cool. We're looking for one more person like Michael to do that, to come down and shadow and learn and train. And I want to prove that it's possible that anyone can learn a lot of these principles and basically just do exactly what Samuel Leeds did, which is in 1 week, I think he made 10,000 pounds in 1 week. Now it's like $15,000 or something, right? I think something like that, or $14,000 or something like that, depending on what the currency's trading at. That's insane. In 1 week, and he had no money. He started with $50 to his name. He got a deal under contract, delayed the real estate agent putting the deposits down, and then found an investor to put the money down so he could take the deal, which is insane. Like that's the stress level, the risk level there is very high, admittedly, but it's proving that with skill, you can connect the deal with the people and make money instantly. So how do you find a deal? What do you do for that, right? Like that's the real estate perspective. You have to learn all the skills that he knows, right? He's good, I think, at closing people. He's good at finding deals. The point was he is hustling. At like 2 in the morning, he was working, still trying to find deals, proving that in like 3 days he had locked up several good apartments that meet the model where you could rent them out for way more than what you're renting them for, right? And I'm sure he found some deals from a landlord. He did like I think a lease to own, he said, where there's an option in 4 years to buy the house out. Okay, so in my market right now, I know people who are renting out houses for like $2,300 a month in London, Ontario, $750,000 houses in Northwest London, these massive, big 3,000 square foot, awesome houses. Because at that top of the market, most people just buy in London, Ontario. If they can afford $2,500 a month in rent, most of them just go and buy. So there's almost no one in that top echelon except for short-term rental people. There's almost no one in the long-term segment for that space. So you're not competing with a lot of people, which is fantastic. Someone like, myself, I would go in there and rent that and then put it on, go in and sublet it, right? Put it on Airbnb. And actually, when I do that, there's a huge arbitrage opportunity here in London, Ontario for that type of thing right now. I'm renting houses in East London that are 150 grand for 1,600 a month, and then come here where houses are 800,000. So 7 of those small houses in East London, in North London or West London, are renting for $200 more. So the price per square foot is like 1/3 the cost. It's insane. It makes no sense. So I should actually go and rent all 10 of those places and put them on Airbnb right now. We should be doing that. Just who wants to do it? Who wants to take the risk? Who wants to start the business and do that? So there's an opportunity for you right there. I like to buy properties, so I look for arbitrage on the buy side, but on the rent side, there's a ton, right? They call it rent to rent, or you call it rent hacking is what I like to call it, where you basically hack your rent down to 0 or less than 0. So people, you rent out a 3,500 square foot house in Toronto, get control of that asset, and then put the rooms up for $1,000 a bedroom. If it's a 5-bedroom house, you take the 5th bedroom, put the other 4 bedrooms up for $1,000 each. You have $4,000 a month coming in, and oftentimes these houses are renting, not quite in downtown, but in the suburbs of Toronto and areas like that. You'll find really good deals on houses. and the house is like $2,500 a month. So you're bringing in $4,000 a month just to your roommates, $1,000 a piece, and you're not ripping them off. You're just charging them market rent for a bedroom, and you're taking the risk and assuming that risk. Of course, there's not really a risk when we're in the housing shortage that we have today in Canada and in most major metropolitans. There is this huge housing shortage, so it's not really a risk. What it is going to be requiring a certain amount of effort. You're going to have to market that unit well. You have to take good pictures, put it online, and conduct showings. Worst case scenario, you lower your rents until you get it rented. Maybe you rent it for $900 a bedroom. Have that safety margin built into your unit. Here in London, Ontario, let's say you can pretty safely get $500 a bedroom. If you want to be conservative, you go rent a 5-bedroom house and say, I'm going to get $450 a bedroom to be safe, because I know if I put it up on Kijiji at $450, it will rent like that, right? So you base your numbers on the lower, more conservative approach, right? So that's really, really important, I think, to rent hacking. So you go rent a place, right? And effectively, if you're really smart, what you do is you negotiate with the landlord and say, I want an option to purchase this house. And people do this all the time. It's a big thing. A lot of landlords, I talk to doctors and dentists, guys who are successful in business, but not necessarily smart when it comes to real estate investing. So you say, I want an option to buy this house in 2 years from you for X price, which might seem like a good price now, but won't be a good price in 2 years. They're not thinking about the time value of their money. If they think the house is worth $300, I'll offer them $305 right now. I'm like, wow, $5,000 more than what it's actually worth? Yeah, I'll take that. And they'll sign a right for me to buy the house in 2 years. It's called an option to purchase, right? And it's all legal, totally done up properly. You get the right to buy this property for X price. Now, if it appreciates that time, you can buy this house for, say it's worth $350 in 2, 3, 4 years from now. Then you're all set to go. And you take the asset. Often you'll rehab the house. You'll rent the house from the landlord, but you'll rent it. You say, hey, I'm going to renovate the house, make it nicer. Landlord gives you permission. You have an option to purchase the house at a future point in time. The landlord feels like, wow, I have no stress now. The guy who's owning this house is like a rent-to-own situation, right? A glorified rent-to-own situation where they think the tenant is going to basically put down, well, the tenant usually will put down a large deposit, right? So you got that safety net that you wouldn't have otherwise. So you put in a larger deposit often, and you'll rehab the property a little bit often. And these things basically protect the landlord from all the stresses of having bad tenants, not collecting rent, having the unit destroyed. Landlords are extremely afraid of their properties being destroyed and putting in bad tenants. And so that's the angle you come at. You find those tired landlords. And I was there. I sold 11 properties off a year and a bit ago before I went back on this. Before we started the company, I started buying property a week, and now we have dozens and dozens of properties. But that's just proving this. I'm also, like, that's a side project. I'm proving that scale is possible, right? A few people actually reach out to me and challenge me and said, Mike, you're a no one, you're a nothing. You couldn't do this on a big scale. You couldn't do 100 properties. And that challenge has motivated the hell out of me. I love when someone says I can't do something, because I'm going to prove that I can. So in 3 years, I'll have 1,000 properties under this company. We'll make a ton of investors a lot of money just to prove that some guy with no connections, I'm just a dude. I grew up poor. My parents don't know anyone. My mom makes $15 an hour at a minimum wage job. I'm a no one, right? And if I can do this, you can do this too. And so they buy property, and anyone can rent property out too. That's the place to start. Right? You start with rent to own, or renting places out and re-renting them out on Airbnb and Booking.com and Expedia and all that. But the real thing is to focus on finding that way you can add value. And so if you just go rent a place out in Toronto for $2,400 a month and you live in it, you're adding no value. You're doing nothing to better yourself, right? So how are you going to add value to that situation? Well, you might rent out a big house with a walkout basement. There are a ton of big houses with walkout basements. So you might narrow your search and say, I just want houses with walkout basements. What that allows you to do is create a lower apartment, right? It's really easy just to lock the door at the top of the stairs and have the basement with the walkout entrance be a separate apartment that you can then rent out for $15,000, $2,000 a month. Hey, Jonathan, welcome on. You could rent that out and take that and put that towards the rent. So most people living in Toronto, I have people reach out to me. If you're single, it's really easy to do. You go rent a place out, you take a bedroom, you rent the other 3 or 4 bedrooms out, your rent cost gets to zero. If you're out there trying to reach financial independence, the first key thing is get your housing under control. Find a way to live for free. If you can't buy a house, rent a house and rent it for a good deal, and then re-rent out portions of the house to cover all of the cost. Very easy to do, very easy to arbitrage in this rental market. You might have to spend 20 hours looking for places to rent. It's not going to just be easy right away. The first house you look at, oh, I can rent hack this. It might not be. You have to look for certain qualifiers, right? You want to look for the number of bedrooms and bathrooms. Very, very important. Separate entrances are really, really important too. Look for things that make it unique. Make the property unique for your specific goal of renting this property out. So be good. It's near a lot of touristy attractions or things like that, or has a really nice view. Views sell. Airbnbs, it's all about the picture, right? So you gotta think, what is the picture of this? That's a nice balcony or something. You get that premium, sometimes even 40, 50 bucks at night because of a balcony. Now I guarantee that unit won't rent for that much more. It won't rent for 50 bucks times, even say 20 days for the month. Let's see, 10 days of vacancy. Even at $1,000 more a month. Do you think that the unit that's on the 10th floor versus the second floor is gonna rent for $1,000 more? I can tell you it's only about $100 difference. So often you find huge arbitrage opportunities in the rental market. And Megan asked a really good question. Megan, I didn't forget your question. Before I ran to go get power upstairs, you asked me a question. I'm gonna scroll up and find it here. I think you asked the question. I think it was you. Let's see. Okay, Megan Evans says, I don't understand how he convinced the landlords to let him rent to rent situation. So how did he convince them to allow him to rent the place and then re-rent it out? Oftentimes, I was talking about this before, but when you rent in a place like Toronto, LA, Vancouver, a lot of these, London, England, a lot of these places have huge rent control. So the tenant has all the power. Once the lease is signed, there is almost nothing the landlord can do. If you live in the unit, there is no that isn't even a sublet. If you keep a room for yourself, it is your personal residence. You're allowed to get as many roommates as you want, as long as you don't exceed 2 people living there permanently per bedroom. That is the fire code, that is the law. So you're actually okay. On a 3-bedroom house, you can put 6 people in it, and the landlord can't say or do anything. There is no tenant board form you can use to evict Megan. So the landlord doesn't have a choice. So one option, of course, I don't know if he used this option or not, is deceit. So to come in there and spin a story, I think he went with the story that he has a pot of money. What he meant by a pot of money was he knew people who had a pot of money. He knew investors with a pot of money. So he wasn't necessarily lying. I think he specifically said, there's a pot of money, we want to buy a lot of properties or whatever. So the way that he phrased his wording, he alluded that he was wealthy. He was just connected to people who are wealthy. He never once said he was wealthy because he was actually broke. And wealthy people want to deal with wealthy people. There's just like a trust factor there. I don't want to rent to a tenant that has nothing to lose, right? You want to rent to someone who has something to lose because these people tend a lot less likely to default, a lot less likely to destroy your units. This is just what I've found in general when you're dealing with people. People with something to lose are the best kind of people to go into business with. Someone with nothing to lose is the worst kind of person to go into business with. Lose. Give the aura that you have something to lose, and don't get shocked at. Like when I'm in the room with someone pulled out, black credit card or even $1 million cash, it wouldn't even faze me. I'd be like, oh, that's cool, that's awesome, man. You don't want to be like starstruck, and it just doesn't give you you want to be like them, right? So you want to make it like, oh, it's no big deal. Good to meet you. My name's Mike Rosehart. Kind of. Like what you're saying doesn't surprise me. $1 million cash doesn't surprise me because that says something to them. Like, wow, that $1 million cash doesn't even surprise them. They're on my level. They're like celeb status, or they're millionaire. They have that same mindset I do. It doesn't surprise them, right? So that's one thing: is act like they act. Don't be surprised when they say certain things to you. Just act like they act. So he acts in a certain way. It's a skill. It's an ability to be able to communicate with people and solve their pain points. So I think with the landlords that he targeted in all of his strategies, if you watch the video, it looked like they were very tired landlords. Landlords who had just had a bad tenant or a destruction, or they were just really fatigued properties that need really good staging, or they weren't staged well. So he's finding that angle, that area in the market where there wasn't a lot of demand. There weren't a lot of renters looking for the unit, and vacancy is very costly for a landlord. Time is, obviously a precious thing to a landlord who's been doing this for 20 or 30 years, let's say. They may be very tired. And I talked to tons of landlords of properties that I bought where they're just tired. They're like, Mike, I don't care if I get $400,000 for this house, if I get $350,000 for this house. I have millions of dollars. I'm very wealthy. I just want this problem to be gone tomorrow. So sometimes you can go into them and say, hey, I'll rent this house from you on a 3-year agreement, and I'll give you the price you want for this house. You want $350,000 for this house? Right now, let's sign an agreement to purchase. We'll put an option, or right to purchase, sorry. And that way, as the renter, if things don't work out and you can't get what you want, you can get out of the deal, right? You have the right to buy it whenever you want. They have to sell it to you after the end of 3 years, but you can get out whenever you want. So that's lost video and audio. Can people hear me? Are we still live? Someone tell me if they've lost video and audio. Can anyone hear me? Is there still sound? Okay, we're gonna keep going then. Good on your end. Okay. False alarm. Okay. Let's keep going. So if, I forgot the line I thought that I had. Okay, so how do you work with a landlord? To answer your question, how do you level with a landlord and find a way in? Well, you got to find their pain point and you got to solve their pain point for them. So if it's about money, then you might be talking to the wrong person, but it's almost never about money. It's almost never about money. When I good now, okay, so people are hearing me. I am really far away also from my Wi-Fi, so if that's causing problems, I apologize. I could probably go in my other office. I have another office back side of the house where I normally do the live streams from, where my normal whiteboard is, where I normally go for Wise Wealth Wednesday. Keep go over there. That's really close to the Wi-Fi box, so that would probably fix a lot of the problems. If we decide to do that, I'll go over there. We can do a vote. If people are finding there's a lot of issue, we can do that, no problem. But we finally got the Joby set up here, the Joby kit, the phone sits in, so hopefully that'll kind of fix most of our issues. Is that better there? Okay. So how do you work with a landlord? Well, one, you find a landlord who's older, who doesn't know how to use technology. Often they don't know the value of their rents, so that's a good person to target. Someone who's tired. Very, very tired is someone you want to target. We can go in the other office. Let's go in there. If it's an issue, we'll go over. No problem. Da-da-da. So you find a landlord who's tired. That's really important. You find a landlord who's willing to, I guess the biggest thing is who you can work with. And so that might mean you have to spin a little bit of a story about yourself, that you're a young entrepreneur, this and that. You might even say, like, he obviously did a bit of deceit, right? He said that he had money that he didn't have for the units, right? He had 5,000 in deposits or whatever. And he found a way to work that out, right? Now he found the money because he got investors to find the money for him, basically for the deals, and that was how he did it, with no money. I'm just gonna sit on this chair here. Okie dokie. Give me a sec. Here, I'm just gonna plug in. Okay. Is it better now? Can people see me? Better? We're actually in my other office now, so it has the Wi-Fi box back over there, so it should be a bit better. Okay, let's go up and hit these questions, because Megan had a really good question about why would anyone do this? Why would a landlord do this? There's a few reasons. One, they either are ignorant, to summarize, right? To summarize what I just talked about. One, they're either ignorant to what current market rents are. They're ignorant to the potential that their property has. Two, they're just tired. Could be they know and they just don't care. So they're either ignorant or don't care, in which case they might have 10 or 20 or 30 rental properties. They aren't concerned about squeezing out that extra bit of money. I know landlords specifically. I actually met a landlord once when I was going to school, and he said you could have this, it was an 8-bedroom house or something. And he said, you could have this 8-bedroom house, I think it was, for $2,000 a month here in London, Ontario. $2,000 a month. And effectively, you could take that $2,000 a month. I could have rented that 8-bedroom house, assumed the responsibility, paid him. He wanted 1 email transfer. He didn't want to collect 8 email transfers. Could you imagine if he had 20 properties, collecting 8 email transfers on each and every property? That's 160 email transfers. It'd be his whole life. It'd be too much for him, right? So he was cool to just get 1 rent, 1 lease. The rental market to a family was around $2,000. So he says, you know what? You go in there, you do whatever you want. I got 1 lease. I'll show my insurance company that I rented it to 1 person. I didn't do by the bedroom. I didn't take that risk on. And he was like, between you and me, I know you're a student. You're just signing this as a young professional, taking this house over for my insurance purposes. I can't rent it to students, but you can do whatever you want. You can, it's your place. There was in the lease I wrote in like right to sublet, and I didn't end up taking this place for a bunch of reasons. I ended up finding an apartment for $299 a month, all including everything. So like a 1-bedroom little spot. So it was super cheap, and so that's why I didn't take that place. But I could have taken that place, taken the risk on. That time I was focused more on school, and I was working too, so I wasn't so concerned about rent hacking. But if I had been smart back then, I would have rent hacked. Take that 8-bedroom house, put each of those rooms out for $475 a piece. On Kijiji, they would have rented like that, right? So I would have had 7 other people rent the rooms out. I would basically be like the landlord in control of the property, sending him a transfer of $2,000 each month. He told me at that time his mortgage was $1,200 a month. He had bought the property for a really good deal a few years back, so his mortgage was relatively low. He had a good deal set up, so he was still making. He's like, I'm making $700 a month profit. I'm happy with that. I don't want any headaches, so don't call me about anything ever. You basically take this house over for $2,000 a month. This was a real scenario, and I could have rented out 7 other bedrooms for call it almost $500 a piece. That's $3,500 a month coming in. I would have made $1,500 a month and lived for free while I went to school. That's a real scenario. I know people who architect those kinds of scenarios. I honestly, when I was selling my 11 properties and I was fed up and I didn't have any people, I didn't have any property managers in place and people in place to take over these issues, I would have taken that deal. If someone came to me and said, Mike, I will give you fair market value right now and I'll do a rent contract setup with you, where effectively I'll run the property, I'll do everything, I'll renovate the property, you don't have to do a thing, you can keep collecting half of the profit or 60% of the profit, I would have taken that. And I would have been better off than selling my properties because I would have had all that upside appreciation too. So there's scenarios where even a really smart guy like myself would even be considering those types of, rent-to-rent situations where maybe I'm just really tired and I don't want to do by the bedroom. It's just too much frustration and effort. But that's an example of a rent-to-rent situation where right away the first thing you should do if you want to retire early, how do you retire early? You start by controlling your housing situation. So important. Second thing is transportation. Most people want the Lambo, they want the Mercedes, they want the BMW before they've earned it. So if you don't have any net worth, if you don't have any money, you don't get to have a nice car. That's not how it works. You go on Kijiji, you go on Craigslist, you find a Ford Focus. That's what I drive. I drive a 2009 Ford Focus. It's a gold colored car, easy to find in the parking lot. You go grab that car for $2,000 cash, right? That's what I paid for my car. It works great. I'll probably have no repairs for 2, 3, 4 years, right? You pay $2,500 a month. You find a decent deal on a car. Maybe a car worth $3,500 that you find for $2,500. Hunt for a bit of a deal. Buy that car, no car payments, get your costs way down. Then you have a vehicle, you can go look at properties, whatever. Maybe you can do it with just by cycling or biking. That's even better if you live in a city where you don't need to have a car. That's awesome. My city's really sprawled out, so you need to have a vehicle. We have one vehicle that we car share. My wife and I share the car. So that's one way to keep costs down. The two things are housing and transportation. And then of course, miscellaneous. So going to the bar, don't go to the bar. Eating out, eat out once a month. Groceries, use apps like Flip, F-L-I-P-P. Use that app to price match and buy groceries really on the cheap. At the end of the day, you guys know at the end of every video I say this. You've seen my 125 videos now. What do I say? I say there's 3 levers to unlock a wealthier you, and you should crank them in this order. 1, you need to learn to spend less. Get your living costs way down. Learn to live for free. You can put your car on Turo, for instance. It's basically like Airbnb, but for your car, where you rent out your car and there's insurance for it and all that, and you put your car out for people who needed the car for a day or something when you don't need that car for that day or even for a few hours. You can get your car cost to zero doing things like that. But house hacking and rent hacking are big ones because that get your living cost down to free, or you're putting money into your pocket. I house hacked myself, but my first house at 19, and I was living for free, right? I was renting out bedrooms and it was covering my mortgage and putting $600 a month in my pocket each and every single day. So spend less, first thing. Earn more. You have to learn to earn, right? If you don't learn to earn, you got to learn. It's all about knowledge. It's all about the mindset, right? You learn to earn. Once you've learned to earn, you can unlock a ton of money. And it starts maybe with $20,000 a year or $30,000 a year. And don't quit your job right now. If you're working a job and it's full time and you hate it, keep grinding, because you got to earn the right to quit. You don't just quit. I'm not going to go on here and say, hey, la-di-da, you're going to be an entrepreneur, you're going to quit, things are going to be great for you. It might. But likely it's not going to be. Likely you're going to have to grind in the evenings and the weekends when you're not at the day job and create that passive income or create that next income stream for yourself before you pull the plug, before you quit. Because you need that income to sustain yourself, to build your savings, to start investing, right? Because first you got to learn to spend less, because most people are making some money. Everyone I talk to reaches out to me on Instagram at Mike Rosehart and says, at Mike Rosehart, I have this issue. I make $30,000 a year. I can never retire. Bullshit. That's what I gotta say. Bullshit. My wife was making $36,000 a year and we were able to retire. I was making $50,000 a year base salary and I was able to retire because I was smart about how I managed my money. So the 3 things, right? You gotta learn to spend less, learn to earn, and then maximize those returns. So important. But after you've mastered spending less and earning more, you've created that gap between what you're earning at the top and what you're spending. That difference goes right into investing. If you have nothing to invest, it doesn't matter what your return on investment is. You could be investing in Bitcoin with $1, it doesn't matter. If all you have to save is $1 because you spent everything you earned, you only have $1 to invest in Bitcoin. I'm using Bitcoin because it's some actually Bitcoin's done very poorly. If you look at my blog, you would see that I forecasted when Bitcoin was at 21,000, everyone was obsessed with Bitcoin and thought it was going to go to 50,000. I said it's going to go to like 2,000, and there's no real intrinsic value. And who was right? I wish I could have rubbed that in all my Facebook friends, acquaintances that were all claiming Bitcoin was the future. Anyway, I'm digressing for a second, and I apologize for that. But so spending less, earning more, maximizing your returns, so important, everyone. So really unlocking, that's how you retire early. And there's a sequence of events, I think, with all of that you have to unlock. But in a nutshell, that's what it's all about. Let's hit some of these questions up, because I've been neglecting the questions coming in, and we got a lot of really good questions. So let's do this. Let's have some live interaction with Mike Rosehart. Okay, scrolling up. I see some really good people on here. A lot of the regulars. Good to see you guys all on. Alex, you had a great question about books you recommend. Jump in the description of all of my uploaded videos, and you will see links on Amazon. There's affiliate links. I don't care if you use my affiliate link. Don't. Doesn't matter to me. Or do if you're going to do it anyway. Might as well click the link because I get like 10 cents. But there's tons of good books there. Early Retirement Extreme, fantastic book. I really like The Wealthy Barber as a good intro book because it was a story. There was a really cool narrative in The Wealthy Barber where he meets this barber, and it's an actual fictional story that teaches the principles of financial independence. So I'm a big fan of The Wealthy Barber. There's some really great books on Bigger Pockets. BiggerPockets.com is a great blog site. I love Phil Pushinsky or whatever it is. He has a great YouTube channel. Check his stuff out. He has some great videos on investing in real estate. Freedom Mentor is fantastic. Check their stuff out. He's got a ton of content on there, like hours and hours. I don't read a lot of books, but I read a lot of blogs, and I consume a lot of white paper content on the internet that's free, that's out there for everyone to kind of dissect. And YouTube's a great place because there are a lot of really cool people who have done this, who are doing this, who are sharing what they're learning from being in the trenches. Stuff like that I'm sharing, right, for free. This didn't exist, 10 years ago. There was none of this on here. So you guys are in we're in such a time in history where anyone can really unlock success, and it's amazing. I think we're all so blessed to be in the age of the internet where we don't have to physically be in any location. We can run our businesses online, and information, everything you need is at the fingertips. You just got to go out and get it, right? Go out and get that information. It's all there for you. I don't know why people are still paying for courses. This is why I don't sell any courses, because everything is out there for free. All a course does is take the same information that's out there that someone else has said before and organize it in a really nice manner for you so it's easy to digest. My videos serve as basically courses where basically you get to go in there and say, okay, Mike has 100 hours of content. I don't have time for 100 hours. Could you dissect this and digest it down into 10 hours of really succinct content? That's where there's value in a course. That's where there's value in coaching too, I think. I don't like to coach, so I don't do any one-on-one coaching. People literally are sending me e-transfers right now to my email of like $100. I have 2 email transfers I just send back that I just forwarded back and said, no, thank you. Like, I'll just give you some free advice. Jump on the Wise Wealth Show. We'll talk about your ideas, your concepts, your property you want to analyze on the live stream. We can do that. And I just give them a little bit of information, maybe a paragraph. But I sent the money back to them, and I was like, here, go, take your $100 back. I don't want it. I don't want to accept that, because then I feel obligated to that person to deliver them 1 hour of value. And I'm trying to crush everything in real estate with our business there. And I'm trying to give all this content away for free on YouTube. That's why, holy crap, we have 41 people on the stream. Thank you for jumping on. Really appreciate that. All of you guys who are on, smash that like button and share this around. Let's talk about this concept of how you retire early. So, in a nutshell, right? If you're basically buying all of these courses and spending less money on, most people spend money on courses and then don't take action. That 90% of people don't take action on the courses that they buy. So I guess the one argument I've heard that makes some sense is if you put the money out for the course, you're more likely to listen to what they have to say. You're watching my video for free right now. You have no sunk cost. There's nothing you sunk into this to take action on it. If you spend $1,000 on a course, you're gonna go and say, I already spent $1,000 on this. I have to get value from it. So now I'm gonna take everything he's saying and implement. If I could force you guys to implement, I'm thinking about a course where I charge $3,000 to someone, and if they take action, they get all their money back. Like, it's literally there to force you to take action. I'm gonna hold it in trust, in a trust account, literally a lawyer's trust account, and give it back to you when you take action. And I will only keep your money if you don't take action. If you don't, I don't know, maybe I should make a course and do that, because that's the one valuable argument I have heard people who sell courses say, and it resonates, it makes sense. I hear that and I'm like, okay, if someone spent no money, maybe they actually, maybe they actually would if they spend some money, they would actually take it more seriously. That would make sense. They have skin in the game. Very, very important. When you're going to business with people too, make sure they have skin in the game. Something, even if it isn't physical, tangible money, skin could be a ton of time, could be something to lose. They need to have a reputation or something you can have as leverage, because that's really important in a relationship. So the person doesn't just disappear. Like, I like to go in business with people who have families. I like to go into business with people who have a lot of capital resources because they have something to lose. People who are ingrained in their local community, people who are public figures, all of these things, they're less likely to screw you because they have a lot more to lose than a ghost you've never seen online ever, has no family and no money. That's someone it's a bit sketchy to go into business with that person. Take a bit of risk there, right? Anyway, I'm gonna go back up to the comments because there's some really, really good ones I wanna get to. But books, go into the description, Alex. Thank you for that question. There's some really great books on there you should check out. The Bigger Pockets Intro Guide to Investing in Real Estate, great book. The stereotypical ones like Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki is a decent book. The Cash Flow Quadrant, another decent book to check out. Books that I've checked out in the past. Early Retirement Extreme is a really, I like the principles of being a Renaissance man. Some of the pieces associated with the book and the mindset there can be applied to really any standard of living, and really focused on some of the more intricate advanced principles. Your Money or Your Life by Vicki Robbins, huge fan. It was the first book that introduced the idea of retiring early in 1992. So Vicki Robbins was the first to talk about this idea with her 9 steps, I believe, in the book, about how to unlock a better relationship with money and really use that to unlock your financial freedom. So great books there. And like I said, blogs. Check out blogs, check out vlogs people do, like content that I release. Those are all great places to digest information. Better than books are all of the blog content out there, all the free tools. Like, I drop free property analysis tools or free ebooks. You can go to my blog, 25andfree.com, and get them for free, right? I don't charge a thing for them. Just go download them, have them. You should spend time doing that, because learning is the most important thing. If you invest that time into learning and then you go and take action on all of those things you're learning, you will unlock wealth. Like, 100%. If you have what's up here right now, if you just watch everything and drain it all from me, I guarantee you could make $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 a year. I could use what's in this brain to make over $1 million a year, and you can get it for free. I'm giving it to you. Batwood, great example. Your Money or Your Life was recently updated in 2018. I haven't seen the updated one, but check that out too. That'd be sweet. Okay, I'm gonna grab all of this. I see App Factory jumping in some great stuff about pirating. I'm not gonna actively condone that, but I know a lot of people who do that, and I would say it's a great way to not pay any money for things. You could also share Netflix passwords with friends, and you could all share one Netflix account. That might be something I do. I don't pay for it. I have no TV cost, and I do like to go to the cinema once in a while. Check out a widescreen movie, but it's nice to see something. Go with some friends to the cinema. But again, I go on the half price Tuesdays because that's a little bit cheaper. Alex says, my first time in live chat. Good to see you on. Jason, how you doing? Good to see you on. Says, Mike, just curious, what was the reason behind changing the Wise Wealth show to Wise Wealth Wednesday to Wise Wealth Show? Wise Wealth Show because I think people are just searching Wise Wealth, smart money. It's like basically a synonym for smart money. I thought it'd be easier to search, made more sense. I think I already answered that question though. William Burkhead says, Mike, I've been looking at credit card statements. My main sin is eating too much out and private school education for my daughter. William, okay, so this is a tough one. I want to do a video on this specifically about how to raise kids frugally, because you guys know I have almost a 3-year-old daughter, and how do I do it, right? How am I staying financially independent? How am I spending less than $24,000 a year to live the lifestyle that I live? Because I'm extremely frugal and really smart about these things. I just see some channel fancies just threw in some great books. 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. I loved that book. That book transformed the way I first thought about efficiency and the 80-20 rule. Introduced a lot of those principles, right? The ratio 80-20. I've also read Common Sense Investing by John Bogle. I'm a big Boglehead, love ETF, index funds, Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham. I have that book over there on my bookshelf. I can go grab that book and show you. It's a great book. I've read part of it, and I haven't heard of The Education of a Value Investor, but I am also a value investor myself, so probably another great book to check out if you're looking for personal finance type books. But let's go up and hit some more of these questions, because there's a bunch of them, and we're gonna get through them all here, I promise. Let's go up here. Okay, so we're talking about private school, and we're talking about eating out. Don't eat out, and if you're gonna eat out, find a way to eat out that is the most efficient use of your money. So, for instance, when we have to go out somewhere, we had to go to we had to eat somewhere, and there was a restaurant called Jack Astor's in my local place here in London. And I was like, how can we eat out right now on the cheap? We're starving. There's no food, there's no time to go home and get food. It was like 7 o'clock at night. We just had to go out. And literally typed in my phone like Jack Astor's VIP coupons. There's a VIP thing. I signed in with a new email, just put in a new email. Boom, they sent me a coupon, spend 30, get 15 off. It's a promotion they send out to new email registrants. So of course I just whipped up a new email. I have like 7 emails anyway, so I used one of the ones I hadn't used before. And popped in there, they sent me the coupon. We went and ate at Jack Astor's. We got 2 good meals and we shared some of that with our daughter. So she's like 3, so she can just eat off. Most people make the mistake of buying kids meal. We just buy big portions and share that with a side plate. In fact, I once there's a really big meal at this restaurant you can split between 2 people. So we do stuff like that to save money. But as an example, we did that, and our meal came to $30. We got no drinks, just iced lemon waters because they're free. Big fan of lemon water. You don't need the sugar and pop anyway, so I just avoid pop. Not a big beer drinker. I don't drink beer out, especially ever. I would never, ever buy beer out if I was going to drink, so I'm not a huge drinker to begin with, but let's say I was going to drink, I would drink on the cheap. Bring a flask or something, seriously. So you go up to the restaurant, you just spent $30. The table next to you just spent $70 because they got an appetizer to start. They're like, oh, I'm just getting an app, and then, oh, you know what, we're gonna get like a nice dessert after. Oh, let's get a couple beers too. Next thing you know, like their bill is like $70. Ours is $30, and we used a coupon, so we got down to $15 for 3 people to eat, right? Eat out at a nice fancy restaurant. And I'm not a huge, I don't want to do a video on this yet, but I want to do a video on tipping. Tipping etiquette in Canada is way off. Everyone's tipping like 15%. It's crazy. I know some servers specifically, some friends of mine who were servers in the past. I know one that worked at Tony Roma's that made $85,000 a year because of tips. They are over tipped. They don't, to be a good server, I'm not even honest right now, but I think honestly people tip way too much. So I don't tip near as much. I will ensure that they make more than minimum wage. That's the thing I try to go for. So I count the number of tables they have. And so anyway, yeah. Luke Dragonflame, have you seen Samuel Leeds' Financial Freedom Challenge? I've not, Luke. I should check that out. I actually just stumbled on Samuel like last week just by chance on YouTube. I don't know what I was doing. I was just on there like looking at stuff and it came up and recommended for me, I think. Under one of my videos, actually, I was on just testing something out, seeing the click-through rates and stuff on videos and seeing what was being recommended. And he was actually recommended after one of my videos by chance. So I thought, oh, this guy's a cool guy. And I clicked on him. I'm like, wow, he's super authentic. Love his message. So I haven't checked into his stuff yet in its entirety, Luke. But yeah, I would definitely love to see what's up with the Financial Freedom Challenge. What is that all about? Drop in the comments, let me know. Yeah, so talking about, that was the first thing, was eating out. Find ways, if you have to eat out efficiently and effectively. Don't go spend $100 like most people do. Find an efficient place to get a good meal, like a nice pad thai or something like that. Eastside Mario's is great. You literally take your meal to go and you eat just the unlimited breads, soups, and salads. And one person gets the salads, one person gets the soups, and you just swap back and forth, and then you bring your whole meal home, you have a meal for the next day too. So there are ways to optimize all of your purchases and try to use, if you can, coupons and things like that to be really efficient with eating out. But the biggest thing to save money on not eating out is to not eat out. So we try to eat out every other week. For ourselves, that feels good. Every other week we're eating out. That's only 2 times a month, really. So it's not too bad. It feels like, every other week we're like, this Friday we eat out, next Friday we won't, next Friday we'll eat out. So that kind of thing really keeps it spicy and makes life feel like it's not full of deprivation, because you don't want to feel deprived. You want to live a rich and a good life, but you want to do it on the cheap. And that's what I'm all about, is finding ways to spend less and make my money go further, but at the same quality standard of living. For someone who spends $50,000, do it on 25. So that's a way to really make sure that you're staying ahead, right? But really great question. The private school piece, I want to do a video on kids specifically, but I don't believe in private school. I honestly don't. I think it's a waste of money, and I think it creates entitled kids. There are some arguments I've heard that are valid for private school, and it depends on where you live. I would say just buy a house in the right school district and get into the best public school in your area. So specifically in my area, there's a really good public school you can go there. You gotta get into this subdivision, so you gotta find a decent house in this subdivision. But once you get into this district, it's a fantastic public school, and you want to live in this neighborhood anyway because the people there are all better connected and whatnot. So there's just a reason to live in this neighborhood. That would be my strategy for trying to reduce private school costs. My daughter, despite being a multimillionaire myself, I will not be putting my daughter into private school. I can easily afford to. My passive income is like 6 figures, right? So I can easily afford to, but I don't. There's a number of reasons I want my daughter to grow up with some hardship. I would like her to grow up the way that I grew up. Of course, I don't want her to go without the way I had to grow up. I want her to have, good meals and a lot of opportunity and education and things that I didn't have growing up. But I definitely don't want to see, yeah, I don't agree with private school. It's just not my thing. So you could, I mean, she's already ingrained, I'm sure, in the private school system, so it'd be difficult to make that transition. But maybe you buy, one thing you could do, I know some people do this mindset, I've used it before, is you buy a property, sorry, text just came in. You buy a property and you say, so here in London, when I buy a property, I get on every, $250,000 average price house, I typically get $1,000 a month profit, right? Coming from the rental income alone, not appreciation. So if you could buy a property that generated, you put in, say, $70,000, you set it aside, you use that money to buy the property, renovate it, so you put $70,000 in capital, the bank provides the rest, and you get $1,000 a month. That's a pretty good rate of return. Just from cash flow, that's usually about 20-25% return on investment because you're using bank leverage for most of the capital to buy the property. You're just putting up, again, $70,000. So let's say you could scrape together $70,000, save that up, or find a way to borrow that money, put that aside, that'd be $1,000 a month. That would cover probably all of your eating out and all of your daughter's private school. I don't know how ritzy of a private school it is, but I would think $1,000 a month would cover that. So you're one rental property away. If you reframe the problem in your mind, you're only one rental property away from covering that expense and never having to worry about it. Because now $1,000 a month coming in is covering that sector of your expenses. And now you've got your expenses way down because you're really just using the rental income to offset that, right? So that's one thing I know people do. They say they work it back, how many rental properties using this model am I away from unlocking financial freedom? So for me, it was always 4 rental properties, 4 Rosehart rental properties. And I call them Rosehart because most people in my market are getting $400 a month in cash flow, right? I'm getting $1,000 a month. I'm using a little bit different model. I'm not doing short-term rental. Short-term rental, you should get $2,000 to $3,000 a month per property. That's what you should expect for the amount of work associated with that. So if I do, when I do Airbnb and short-term rentals, which I do some of that too, I expect $2,000 a month per property in that model. That's just my expectation. I have high expectations, and I buy unicorn properties. That's my thing. But you could buy, for instance, let's say your living expenses were $6,000 a month. You'd probably want to buy 8 rental properties to have a $2,000 buffer or margin. So 8 properties would be $8,000 a month, more than cover your $6,000 living expenses. So you have a little bit of buffer for some tax. If you're smart about it, you shouldn't pay hardly any tax, especially once you stop working, because rental income can be sheltered extremely well and you can pay almost no tax. Here in Canada, you can collect $50,000 a year per person in Canadian eligible dividends and Canadian eligible companies tax-free. That is 100% true. So you can collect $49,000 per person here in Canada tax-free. Early retirees actually have a ton of tax advantages and don't pay a lot of tax. They're really smart about how they do things. So that's really awesome, guys. There's tons of good comments down here. I got to hit. Oh, wow. So many good ones here. 44 people on. I guess it does matter what you title your live stream. I was curious if it actually did. And this is sort of a beta test, and it seems to have attracted more people by titling my videos slightly differently. Interesting. Okay, next question. Let's go up here. That was a really good one, though, by the way, about private school and about your children. If someone wanted to actually, in the comments after this video goes up, timestamp the different things that I talked about, that would be so valuable, so cool. When this video gets uploaded afterwards, if you go back in the comments at the end of this video and timestamp the major questions that I answered, like maybe at the start of each question, just timestamp it, and you literally just put in the 3 timestamps, like the hours, the minutes, and the seconds, I think, with colons in between. And what you'll find is that I will call you out on the next show, and I will respond to one question on Instagram as well. So if the person who does that, I'll give you free coaching. We can talk. Actually, I'm serious. So if someone wants to do that for the Wise Wealth show, that'd be super cool. Even if it's just like 6 timestamps of the major things that we covered and just links, they can click it. Boom, boom, boom. Super easy to do. I can show you how to do that after. But really great questions. Okay, next question. That was a really good one, though, by the way, about kids and how you can reframe it to think from a real estate perspective or from an investing perspective. How many shares of X company do I need to have to unlock financial independence? It's a lot easier with real estate because you can cash flow way better. You can also do it with stocks. When I started out before investing in real estate, I thought I'd be investing in dividend stocks. And so I thought, well, how much do I need in dividend stocks to unlock financial independence? For me, for a long time, it was $500,000. Now, my living expenses have changed a little bit, but I always shot for double just because you want to have that extra layer of resiliency and redundancy in your plan in case your dividends don't pay out on that stock during a time of recession or something happens, right? So always go with an extra layer of protection, but you can say, hey, this is the amount I actually need bare bones to not need to work ever again for the rest of my life. So that's one way to think of it. I always thought of it in number of properties I am away from being free. Okay. Very, very good questions. Very good questions, William. Glad you tuned in. Megan says, I don't understand how he convinced landlords to let him do the rent-to-rent situation. I'm a landlord. I answered this question, Megan, already. So check in the previous, you're probably still on, so you heard my responses to that. But definitely you can create a win-win scenario with a landlord, one where you can both win. There are a lot of landlords who would take this on. Worst case scenario, you could do a bit of deceit. You could just rent the place out and say, look, I want to use this for me and my friends. I got some friends who are going to move in with me, whatever. Use that sort of strategy. Once you've rented the property, there's nothing that they can do to take it from you. The rights are in the tenant's name. So that's really important. Don Davies, do you buy heritage properties in London, or is there a heritage zone in London? Is there a difference between a heritage property and a heritage zone in London? Don Davies, great question. A lot of the properties in London was meant to be the capital of Canada. And so when it was built, it was a colony of London, England, right? Anyway, London was designed, it's named after a lot of the same streets in London, England, but in London, Ontario, and Canada, there is a lot of heritage properties, a lot of properties from the 1700s. I own a property from built in like 1790 something. It's one of the first lodges, like a Masonic lodge, became a fur lodge, fur trading lodge for a while. One of the first coming into the town at one of the forks in the road. So I do own some heritage properties. You have to be careful. You talk about heritage zoning. There are some specific bylaws and ordinances that are in effect to protect these heritage properties. Mostly they talk about the exterior of the property. The interior is usually fair game, so you could usually renovate the properties however you want on the interior, but exterior-wise, you have to be very careful you don't destroy heritage windows or doors or things like that. It can be very cost prohibitive, definitely, when you're talking about how to restore heritage properties while not getting in trouble and getting fined. What I've always found, this is probably a cowboy gunslinging style approach to renovations, but I always like to ask forgiveness before permission. So I'm a big forgiveness, not permission guy. Better to ask, what's the saying? Better to ask forgiveness than permission, because oftentimes they'll just say no, but if you do it, then there'll be a fine or something associated with that. Oftentimes they'll waive that, it's the first offense or whatever. But yeah, that's one of those things where definitely something to think about. When you're buying a heritage property, you have to factor in, it may cost you a bit more, or you might not be able to actually transform. That window that's stained glass might have to stay. You might have to frame in a second window and put a second window for energy efficiency behind that first window, so the facade of the property looks the same. So those are things you have to factor in. It can add a little bit of cost to your property. I actually love heritage properties. They're great to rent. They do really well short-term rentals. They do really well long-term rentals. People love the 10-foot ceilings. They love the ambience. So there's some distinct advantages to the heritage properties. But yeah, good question about that. There's so many good questions. Wow. Scrolling all the way up. I'm gonna try to be faster with these. Let's do a lightning round to see if I can bang off a few questions really, really quick. Okay, scrolling way up on this I got my little iPhone here, so I'm trying to. Okay, good question. Isaiah, it's good to see you. Batwood, good to see you on. Don Tren, Sony Singh. Dominic says, hi, tuning in. I'll watch the replay later. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, everyone. I hope you're having happy holidays. And thank you for joining me on the live stream here on Boxing Day here in Canada. So it's a stat holiday here, but of course I'm always on. I'm always grinding day and night, because it's for me, this is like the intersection between mastery, autonomy, and purpose for me. The intersection of that triangle is what you're meant to be doing with your life. So for me, that's real estate. What's the total cost of your reno on the house, and is there cash flow on it? So we talked a little bit about my house, what I'm doing. I haven't actually been keeping a good tally on the budget, so I don't know exactly. I have to add up all the receipts to get the exact total, but my budget going into the project was about $35,000 to $40,000, and I bought the house for around $411, I think it was. So my all-in cost is like $412 or something. So I'm looking at $412,000 plus, call it $40,000 in renos. So under $450,000 for this house. On a per square foot basis, this is a really, really good deal in London, Ontario, Canada, given the location, because I live in a really good area of Northwest London. It's very high end. There are, there's no methadone clinics nearby. There's no safe injection sites. There's no government POGI offices. That's all downtown. That's all in East London. So I don't have any of the riffraff that are on the social support here. My worst is a few kilometers that way, kilometers is pretty far. You do have White Hills, which is like, there's a bit of a rental income place there, but even White Hills is nice. It's like the nicest slums in London, in my opinion. So there's no safe injection sites. So you don't get the same kind of drugs. And if people are doing drugs, then they're doing it in their house where no one can see, and they're rich, so they don't need to rob me in order to pay for those drugs. So I don't know about it, and I don't hear about it. And when I don't know and don't hear about it, it doesn't affect me. So that's sort of why the house I'm at where I am at. It's in a good school district as well. So we were future planning. And of course, I have a huge office. You guys saw the boardroom. We have the office room. We have the washroom. We have the separate entrance through the vestibule mudroom. And that's really nice for meeting clients because my side of the house is locked off and my family can continue to enjoy our life, and I can meet investors. I have a lot of investors come over. I have people, when I sign a private deal, to come to my house, we'll ink the deal there. If we need a meeting room, it's just a great place. The employees meet up here. It saves me from buying an actual office. So that's why I have the house that I have. And from a cash flow perspective, you could theoretically get $1,000 for the back main floor part of my house, the office space, easily $1,000 a month. My unit is a four bed, because one on the main floor, 3 upstairs, ensuite, 3 washrooms. So I have 4 bed, 3 washroom in my front half and upstairs. So that would probably rent for around $2,000 a month, and then the basement should rent for $1,800. So I could get around $4,800 a month. It's over 1% rule. Even in this area where it never cash flows, I found a beast that can cash flow. And I'm mortgage free. Like literally I have a mortgage on this property, but the basement 3-bedroom apartment will provide enough rent to cover my mortgage, and the back unit again covers more than enough to cover my space. So that's really, really important. If I choose to rent those out, then I have that. If something ever happened where I lost everything, then of course I could just rent portions of my house out here and I would live for free, and we're back to a free living scenario. All I need to do is bring enough money in to pay for food, which is like $300 a month. So that's a good scenario to be in, where your costs are so low. I have no car payments, nothing. My house can self-sustain. The mortgage, property taxes, utilities can be paid for by the unused portions of the house that I rent out. So that's really, really important to set yourself up. Even if you don't live, even if you want to live in both sides of your duplex, having the potential to rent it out when times get tough is smart. I'm all about conservative layers of redundancy. So there you go. Next question, let's go up. Some great questions here. I really appreciate all of these. Greetings from Rio. Brian Smith, good to see you on. Ryan Powell, good to see you on. Brandon Carney, good to see you on. Merry Christmas. Isaiah, good to see you. Greetings from Winnipeg. Cool. Okay, Boston, happy holidays. I see all the cool people. Austin, Oliver, all the good peeps. Hey, how you doing, HCS? Whoa, can't believe you're on Boxing Day. Good stuff. Any good deals on real estate or just shopping wise that you found, even though you don't buy any real materialistic items? I do buy things that add value. So you know what I bought? We bought 9 flat screen televisions, $148 at Walmart. $148 for a 40-inch widescreen 1080p flat screen RCA TV. So we picked up a bunch at $148. I'm gonna put these on in the living rooms of all my rental properties, especially my short-term rentals. If you put, even your student rentals, you put a TV mounted on the wall with a nice couch, you stage the place, and you say that's included, just that alone, that one furnishing, it's $148. I guarantee you I can get $50 more a room. Guaranteed. I can go from $500 to $550 a month just for doing that one thing, putting a flat screen TV on the wall. So of course on Boxing Day, best day for a sale in Canada, I went out and just like Black Friday, I went out and grabbed a whole bunch of things like TVs, and there's a lot of renovation materials that were really good deals. Got some cool vinyl plank click flooring. It's like a hardwood but made of vinyl PVC product that's resistant to water and anything. So if a tenant spills coffee or water, it doesn't damage the floor. Got some of that for $1.60 something a square foot, which is half price. Of course, I'm all over the deals on Boxing Day. Yes, great question. Yeah, definitely have some great deals. Real estate wise, not a ton. No one's really doing anything on the holidays, so the agents don't get back to you and stuff like that. I just became actually a real estate agent myself now. So that's something new that I'm doing now, and I've signed up and doing that. I'm not really looking for clients, so people reaching out, no thanks. I'm just servicing myself and my investors for now. We're just looking to we're buying a property a week, right? So it makes no sense for me to not have that license. I still have my business partner who can do the wholesaling division, and so because as a real estate agent, you can't wholesale. There's some laws specifically in Canada about that. But ripping off investors, I have to bring in like 5 comps and say, here's what I think your house is worth. Okay, Michael Chung, good to see you on. Mark 9004, I want to learn. Okay, yeah, definitely. I got over 100 videos on here, so start there. The Wise Wealth Show, this is probably, actually I think this is episode 30. We should have done a special. I think this is 30 weeks now I've been doing this Wise Wealth Show. So you can check those out in the Wise Wealth playlist and watch those. For hours I go on tangents about things that are related to real estate and whatever else that you guys want to know about. Wherever the conversation you guys take me on, that's where we go. So you guys really are in control of where these conversations go by the questions that you ask. Batwood, good to see you on there. That question, totally agree. Jonathan Wood says, hey Mike, how you doing, Jonathan? Austin says, how difficult is it to pull the entire down reno plus down payment amount within 6 months using a BRRRR strategy? The BRRRR is the buy, renovate, rent out, refinance all of the capital out, and then repeat. So you get a really high appraisal and you put another first mortgage on and pull all your money back out. So how do you determine what is a decent amount to pull out after a refinance? For instance, 70% of your initial investment. Austin, why? Great question. So it is possible, and I've done it several times where I've been able to pull out. We even had an investor, Jason, who's on here, pull out more than the purchase price. Now that's an anomaly. You don't usually get to pull out more than the purchase price. We've had it happen maybe 3-4 times now where you've been able to pull out, and part of it has been like just a bit of luck and whatever else, but within a 3-month period. So I'm not talking appreciation, I'm talking just a really smart buy. And then as soon as you close on the property without any appreciation, you get another refinance on the property. So let's say you buy it for $300, you get another refinance on it for $400. You put a mortgage on it, you get a mortgage on it, 80% loan to value of $400, which is $320,000, right? So if you bought it for $300, you just put $20,000 in your pocket when the first mortgage is registered on the property because you get paid out the difference. So you just basically got paid to buy a house. Your down payment was negative $20,000. I'm not talking zero down, I'm talking being paid to buy properties. That's what happens when you find a really good deal. The deal is everything. People ask me, is it the management? Is it the capital? Money is nothing. Like if I have a good enough deal, I can raise money to buy a house like that. I don't even need money for real estate anymore. I know enough people with money who want to make good returns on their investment, and they are willing to put the capital up. Money is a lot less valuable than people think it is in real estate investing. So good questions. Totally possible to do a BRRRR. I use that as the cornerstone of the Rosehart real estate snowball. You check out that video where anyone can buy 10 properties in 3 years. Right? It's totally possible. You pick up a full-time job, you work it for 3 years, and you follow these strategies using the BRRRR method, which is basically the Rosehart real estate snowball, where you refinance most of the capital out of the project and continue to do that. Totally possible in today's market. 1 in 10 properties on the open market trading qualify for a really good BRRRR. I would say probably 3 out of 10 private deals. So 30% of private deals qualify for this model. So what that's going to mean is most people aren't getting these home run BRRRR properties, but they exist. They're harder to find, but they exist. So yes, it's totally possible, Austin, to answer your question, but it is difficult. It is not going to be easy. You're going to have to spend a lot of energy in finding that arbitrage angle, and it's going to continue to change and evolve because once someone figures out an angle and people start exploiting it, the arbitrage opportunity disappears, and you have to find a new angle or a new opportunity to add value to the real estate. So Airbnb was one for a while that worked. Adding bedrooms to properties has been an age-old way that things have worked. Adding secondary units, like turning basements into another apartment, or duplexing properties has been a really great way to add value. Curb appeal, little things too can add tons of value, but most of the money is made on the buy, and then you add value in some ways to really unlock that value, but you make most of it on the buy, so buy smart. Great question. Mark says, love to do what you do. Almost seems impossible for me to replicate. Mark's is not. Mark's 9004. You can totally do a lot of what I'm doing. Now, it wasn't easy. I've had to grind 12 and 15 hours a day. You're going to have to see 100 properties before you find that first good deal. I'm serious. You have to spend 3 hours analyzing the deal, going to see the property, bringing contractors in to quote the cost. I do that when I go through a showing on a property and I'm going to put an offer. I have contractors come and quote me the price to renovate the property. I did anyway. Now I got to a point where I can quote it myself. But for a long time, I bring 3 contractors in instead of a home inspector. And I'd say, how much to fix this, this, and this? Find every problem you can, and I will pay you $30 to give me a quote. Most guys give quotes for free anyway. If you give them $30 incentive, they're there working for you. They want to earn your business. They'll find more things than the home inspector would. Home inspector doesn't want to kill the deal because the agent's hired the home inspector in most cases. And so I actually don't like home inspections. I like to bring 3 independent contractors in. Independent, 3 different guys. And the best is when they each come back finding different things and they fight about it, and then you compare that, and in that process you learn a ton. I've done this 20, 30 times. That's when you really learn how to budget what it's going to cost you to renovate a property. And then of course just doing it. The more renovations you do, the better you get at forecasting costs and understanding the intricate pieces of the industry. So that's a really good way to do it. Is go see 100 properties, do that, and that will definitely have a huge impact on basically everything associated with the process of real estate. You just have to do. That's the best way. Of course, watching videos like this and soaking up the knowledge that I'm dropping, that helps a lot. Reading books and reading blog posts and things like that, again, that helps too a ton. Networking is the biggest one too. Go out and network. Talk to people who are doing this. Sit down for lunch with people who are doing this. And the last thing, the most important thing is just start doing. Buy something, rent something, Get a right to terminate after 3 months, to terminate your lease. Put that in your lease, and then you have the option to get out and try to rent it out on Airbnb. Buy some furniture, put some furniture in it, whatever you gotta do. Experiment. Through experimentation, through failing, and then failing fast, and then failing forward, and learning something from that failure, you will become proficient. So I'm not gonna say you have the skill from day one. If everyone had the skill that Samuel Leeds had to execute on that I have to execute on these deals, then you would, there'd be no reason for us to be educating you, because everyone would already know this, and everyone would be a millionaire, because everyone would know these skills. But they are not, the barrier to entry is not as large as you think. You don't need to be connected or be a millionaire to do this. You just need to spend the time to learn. And you have to have the energy and the dedication and the enthusiasm to learn. So there you go. Oh, awesome. Bunch of good comments here. Thank you, thank you. All good. The video is good. I moved. Baron Dreyer, good to see you on. Thank you for finding my channel through Graham Steffen's comment. That's awesome. I appreciate Graham. We did a video together a while back about how I was able to retire, as a 25-year-old self-made millionaire. He did another video talking about how anyone can become a millionaire in 10 years just on an average salary, and you can without any real estate investing at all. You could literally just take everything you're earning from your salary and reinvest it in stocks, in whatever, right? So that you could just do it without investing in real estate at all, or invest in like a real estate investment trust or a REIT, right? A publicly traded one where you're not doing any property management, you're just buying a share in guys that do real estate investing. So there you go. That's one way you could just do it extremely passively. So you don't need to do real estate investing to get there. It will get you there a lot faster, but you could retire in 5, 10 years. No one should be working in their 30s or 40s, and no one should be working 10 years from now after watching this video. You have the tools, you have the keys to the kingdom. I'm giving you the keys. They're right here. Like just watch the 100 videos and then you have the keys. And then all you gotta do is act on what you know. So I'm at work, wage cucking, App Factory, that's a good one. I want to be like you and be financially free. App Factory, if I can help you get there, happy to do that. Send me an Instagram DM, and I love that you jump on and ask your questions, because the more you watch, the more you learn, the better it's going to be. Okay, cool. Seems to be better now, man. Better. Awesome. So I see American real estate investors recommending a 30-year fixed rate mortgage, but I haven't seen any banks in Canada offering any fixed rate terms over 10 years. That is true of Canada. Have you been ever able to get 30-year fixed rate mortgages? No. So in Canada, we used to do 35-year amortization schedules. So you pay back the original mortgage balance over a 35-year period if you didn't refinance. So now we're at maximum is 30 years. You can't go more than 30, and most residential mortgages are around 25. That's the average. But the interest rate term, so the rate you pay and the time you pay that term for, right? The rate how long that rate is locked in for is usually a 5 to 10-year term. Most people do the 5-year fixed rate mortgage or the 5-year variable rate mortgage. Variable rates move with prime. They get an extreme discount of prime, but that's pretty huge. Another thing too is locking in. People do 2-year fixed rates and then keep refinancing. The advantage, I think, to that system, it just is the way it is, unfortunately. I wish I could tell you that we had 30-year fixed rate mortgages like they do in the US. The United States, they are so blessed. They're so lucky they can do that. They do pay a percentage premium point higher for that. Most of their average mortgages are like 4.5, almost 5% on a 30-year fixed rate now, whereas we are around 3.69, 3.79 on a 5-year fixed. Now, at the end of 5 years, we're going to have to renegotiate the interest term, but you automatically get pre-approved. It's not like you have to go get approved again in Canada. You're already approved. It's just a matter of literally renegotiating the interest rate every 5 years. So, I mean, there's a little bit more volatility there, but just build that into your numbers. And since every investor in Canada is in the same boat, you just do the best you can to optimize. I'm a big fan of finding ways to reduce the interest rate cost by negotiating through getting multiple different brokers to fight for your business. And often they will discount prime up to 1/4 or 0.5% to get your business. They will pay for the appraisal on the property for free. A lot of things I've had thrown in because I've asked. Just ask the question. Be assertive. That will go a long way in helping you succeed. So great question, bring that up. Thank you for sussing that information out of me with the right questions. Seems to be better now. Of course, the phone's like frozen here. Let's see if that helps at all. Unplugged it. CBRAD89, spend less, make more, maximize returns. That's right. That's the slogan. I say it every single episode. I'm going to say it again at the end of this one. My student house would be completed soon. Don says, should I set the lease duration for 16 months, January 2019 to 2020 April, for better leasing cycles? If not, can you suggest a way I can get a better cycle for May to April? Yeah, I mean, you just got to lock into a cycle, and try to have your lease end for either September 1st, which is a great time for students to move into college, university in most towns here, or for like an April 30th deadline. So one or the other, very, very important. It'll help save you a ton in the back end, definitely with your student housing. Hustle, that's right, App Factory, good comment. So TJ Bjorklund says, how do you recommend beginning all these journeys with student loans? The same way, spend less plus earn using the best paying job available to immediately clear the debt and then work on passive income? Yes. First thing I would say is don't incur the debt in the first place. Find a way to get through school debt free, which is what I did. I got through a 4-year advanced degree for free in business and finance. Now I worked part-time job the whole way through. So in summers I worked 50 hours a week, had good summer jobs, made $17,000 each and every summer, which covered my tuition. And then I worked in high school too. So by the time I was 17 and went off to school, I'd already been working for 2 years to save up the initial amount. Maybe your parents front you on your first year. Maybe you get a loan to front you your first year and you're just left with 1 year of payment when you graduate. But you should be able to go through school and find a way to house hack or rent hack while you're a student, right? Find a place like I talked about earlier in the video where you get an 8-bedroom house for $2,000 and then rent out different bedrooms to make money while you're a student. So you can find a way to 100% basically get your living costs to nothing. Super, super key to it's definitely really, really important, I think, to understanding how to unlock financial independence, to have a good financial base. And $100,000 student debt is not a good base. It's not a good way to start your 20s because that compounds. The cost of education is $1 million by the time you're 60 years old. If you compound the growth and the opportunity cost of being in school for 4 years, that's a very expensive thing. If you want to retire early, you shouldn't have gone to school. I almost regret having gone to the Richard Ivey School of Business, one of the greatest schools for business in Canada. It's all left the Harvard Business Program, one of the top in the world. Guys like Kevin O'Leary went to the program, and I thought it was going to make me into someone that it really didn't. The program is not as good as they make it sound, and the tuition cost was insane, $28,000 a year. I was lucky to survive debt-free. I got a lot of really good scholarships and bursaries that I worked my ass off for. Oh, cool. I just got a $10 thing pop up. Hey. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you, Don, for that. Appreciate that. Mike, you just saved me $10 for Chromecast. You just mentioned you bought TVs and my head clicked. I'm planning on putting Chromecast plus TV in my student rentals. You just saved me $10 times 17 equals $170. Yeah. Just get an Android box too. I mean, that's unofficially off the record. Go on Kijiji and grab an Android box for like $50 and plug it into your TV. It gives them free streaming. They can go on YouTube, they can go on anything. All the latest movies are on there, completely free, no subscription. I don't know how legal it is. That's kind of a gray area, but if you were to buy it and provide it to your students, if they were to use it, it would be no problem at the end of the day, right? So that's one way you could save some more money too. But yeah, putting TV in is huge, Don. You'll probably get an extra $25 a bedroom at least for having a flat screen mounted on the wall. It's like one of those weird things. It just gets like, it looks good in the listing picture and everything. So it just doesn't end up, it just ends up being really worth it. Go to Walmart, pick that up for $148. Boom, money. I went and bought like 10 of them because I go through TVs like I go through rental units, right? It's like vinyl flooring. I go through like 10,000 square foot of flooring because we're doing so much renovating on all the properties we're buying. But so many good questions. Okay, going up here and trying to, okay. I got these questions answered. These are all good. We have 40 people on this stream the whole time. That is amazing. Thank you so much for everyone tuning in. Okay, down, hustle, yes, great questions. But finding the last bit of your question, TJ, is finding bursaries and scholarships. So work really hard, but part-time jobs is so key. As a student, there's no reason you can't earn $15,000 a year. If you work part-time, minimum wage, like 25 hours a week, I had my schedule for school Monday to Thursday, and then I worked Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I worked 10-hour days. So 10, I worked 30 hours a week while I was a full-time student. You can do it too. It's not even that hard. The job I have is so cush, I could study while I was working. So that's one thing you could do. I wish I had made even more. Like if I had better jobs that paid better than the minimum wage, I would have made even more. A lot of people just got to hustle to find the jobs. And then not only that, but your resume will be so stacked because you've had so much work experience, so many jobs the whole time you're going through school. So if you're a student watching this, you're 17, 18, 19 years old, 20 years old, 21 still in school, go and pick up that side hustle. Find that way to earn a little bit extra income. You'll graduate debt-free. And of course, you will find that it'll build your resume. And when you go to apply with an employer in the future, they're going to say, wow, look at all the work experience you have. It actually helped me get a job when I graduated at 21, helped me get a full-time job in consulting as an analyst. Then I got promoted as a senior analyst and a manager because I had that experience. So instead of drinking all weekend, I was working and I was way further ahead for it. So Awesome. Awesome. Just saw that comment pop up. That's awesome, man. Exactly. Just start taking action. Do one small thing. Maybe pick up a small side hustle. Maybe do some tutoring on the side. I used to buy and resell things on Kijiji. I'd buy used iPads, like second gen iPads, and just clean them up, put a nice case on them, buy them for like $150 from someone who didn't care, just wanted to get rid of them. I go to their house, take a bus, go to their house, get the iPad, clean it up, and then sell it for $75 more. That took me 2 hours, but I can make $75 in 2 hours just reselling. And my only capital I needed was $200 to do this trading thing. So I used to resell stuff. That's a cool thing. You pick up a job right now. You don't even need to interview for that. You just go online and start learning the prices for things and resell them. I used to resell cars even. I'd buy cars, drive them for a bit, and sell them for more. So that's like, you just find ways to buy things for a deal and then resell them later, like phones. You go find a phone. Be careful of technology because you hold it too long, it depreciates faster than the deal that you got on it, right? So just be careful. Mr. Beefy, good to see you on. Hey, Mikey, wasn't sure if you'd be on. Great to see you. Good to see you on too. Yeah, I'm always on. Every single Wednesday, even on Boxing Day in Canada, the holiday. Amen. Free. I feel dirty when I pay for courses. That factory, that's, yeah, I mean, unfortunately, sometimes you have to pay for certain things. I've paid for things in life that maybe maybe I shouldn't have paid for some things, but I've never paid for, I don't think I've even paid more than $100 ever for a course. I've never even paid for a course. I've never had a mentor either. I've literally just met people at networking events and picked their brains. I've literally went on the internet and watched every video guys like Phil put out, Phil Pushimanovsky or whatever his name is, and Freedom Mentor and all those guys on there, and go on forums and see what people are writing about. There's tons of free content and information there that you can apply to your own life, and you can build your own courses effectively by finding all the information that's free out there. Turning down dollars. Love this stuff. Yeah, William, it's not about the money at the end of the day for me. I've already unlocked enough abundance in my life. I could easily go out and earn a ton more money, but right now it's about relationships and social capital. I really enjoy building relationships with people and building that social capital, which is way more valuable. It's like at the end of It's a Wonderful Life, if you've ever seen that movie. Great Christmas movie. I watch it every year. They have a color version even for those people who don't like black and white. It's a Wonderful Life. Check it out. The end of the story, it's just so fantastic when people come together, right? He doesn't have any money, but the people in his community come together to save his life. And that is so valuable. There's more valuable than money. Wealth alone will not bring you happiness. Wealth alone is not wealth. You need multiple facets. I did a video on this, the 8 facets or dimensions of wellness and health. Money is just one of the 8 dimensions. Now, I think you can master it. It helps lubricate the wheels of the other 7, but it definitely is not the only thing. And once you have enough of it, it doesn't really add a ton of value. Having 3 million or 10 million or 50 million, there's not a huge difference in lifestyle. You kind of have the same sort of ability to travel or do whatever you want, whenever you want. And the passive income is more than you need to live. So I think at that point, it's just greed, right? I do it for ego, and I'm also doing it to build a business to employ my friends. I want to have 10 of my friends come work at our company and be able to pay them a salary so they can be sort of financially independent too and work in the business and not do jobs that they hate while they're working for that 5-year period towards their financial independence. So, and I just also love being around hustlers and entrepreneurs. So if you're a hustler and entrepreneur and you want to move to London, Ontario, Canada, reach out to me because there might be an opportunity there. Should I use, so Isaiah Sabrira says, should I use my 60 grand in the bank to pay down my mortgage or invest in real estate? Invest in real estate. Do not pay down your mortgage. Your mortgage is probably at 3.5%, 4%. If your mortgage is at like 12%, if you got like a really dirty C lender type mortgage, like a private mortgage, it's at a really bad rate, like 12% or 14%, pay it down. That's a good use of your capital. That's after tax guaranteed 12 or 14% rate of return. So the risk to reward is really good in that situation, so it makes sense. But if your mortgage is at like 3% or 4% or even 5%, do not pay down your mortgage. That's a bad use of your capital. You can go make 25% rate of return by buying another property. You get a way higher return on investment with that capital. So I definitely wouldn't pay that down. Maybe you want to run through a current deal you have ready for an investor. Sony Singh, hit me up, message me. In the future, I'll definitely do a video. We do have a couple of properties. I got a property on way out past Highbury towards the entrance of the 401, way out there. It's a nice house for $175,000. Huge lot, ton of potential to build and develop. Lots of $500,000 houses right around the corner, but it could rent out for $1,700 a month plus all utilities, so you'd have like $700 a month in your pocket, and the down payment would be like $30,000. So it's a super easy clutch deal for $175,000. And I got another property. We got a couple other deals too going around. I got one on. I got a condo near me in Northwest London, great area that can be converted to almost a 5-bedroom for $180,000. So All right, I gotta do bath time with my daughter, so I gotta wrap this up real quick. All right, I'm coming out soon. Just give me a minute. Promise. Family is really important, right? You gotta prioritize your time with your family. As much as I love this extended social group and the social capital we're building and the amount of value I'm providing to you guys, I gotta cap this like an hour and 40 minutes because I do gotta do bath time and bedtime with my daughter. It is almost the Christmas holiday. So let's run through these last couple questions. Stay with me, and then we'll wrap it up quick. App Factory, I'm a PC gamer. I pirate all of my online good games, even movies, music, and software. Ever since early teens, I've saved tons of cash on entertainment. App Factory, me too. Big time, used to be a big time PC gamer. Applied a lot of what I learned in games like World of Warcraft and Star Wars Galaxies Online. In those MMORPG games, I applied a lot of my learnings about the fundamentals of economics. I learned basic supply and demand. I learned how to basic marketing. I used to buy things on the bazaar and the auction houses and resell them for more money. I even developed a little app that would analyze all of the different prices on these online games. And the games had they were pay to play, right? Like World of Warcraft and all those games, pay to play. But I was trading in-game currency for real in-game gift cards to continue to play for free. So I was playing games like that for free, and I've always been applying those. I think like if you play games like MMORPGs, the fundamentals there of grinding towards a goal are very applicable to real life. And so there are a lot of actual tangible benefits to gaming. I hope my daughter picks up gaming, some games there are a lot of really good games, like the shooter games and stuff, just helps hand-eye coordination, that's about it. But there is some definite advantages to gaming too. And so I had to stop gaming because I made a choice, when I was like 20, that I was gonna just hustle really hard and full-time. I was working so much, I didn't have time to game. So I kind of quit gaming. I would play the occasional game of League of Legends with a buddy, or I can be dragged into gaming again, and I am still a PC gamer at heart, but I just don't have the time for it anymore, and I don't do a lot of gaming anymore. But definitely relate with you with the gaming. I think there's a lot to gaming that is beneficial. And if you can save money on your entertainment, I do the same thing. There are tons of streaming sites out there that are that you can get free videos on and just stream them. No viruses, no issues. Batwood says Netflix doesn't seem to mind. Yeah, they don't. They let multiple logins at once, so you could share a login between a couple of friends, and I'll split the $10. So it's a couple of bucks a month if you wanted to go that route. Or you have a friend who doesn't have anyone else using his account, and just say, hey, would you mind letting me the password, please, buddy? And buddy might just say yeah, which in my case they have. Great books there from Channel Fancy. Check those out. I called those out earlier. Don Trent says LMAO, half price Tuesdays. That's too funny, man. So frugal. Oh my gosh. Yeah, there's half price Tuesdays if you guys go to the cinema. Silver City, owned by it used to be called Famous Players before, owned by Cineplex Odeon. Those theaters, they're all half price Tuesdays, of course, and you can bring coupons too. So definitely check that out. And the Scene program is pretty fantastic for getting really good deals. Of course, I'm hitting up the half price. You know it. You know what's good. I'm all about getting the best value for my money. That's been always really, really important. A bunch of other great books here by Channel Fancy. Wow, I was just throwing in tons of great books. Richest Man in Babylon's all right. I've read that book. Think and Grow Rich is actually a good book. The $100 Startup, I've heard good things about too. Simple Path to Wealth by Collins is good too. That's in my description of my previous videos. I should add some of these books to my description. Great books. Private school is such a waste of money unless you live in the hood in like Detroit or something. Private school is flushing money, App Factory says. It's debatable, right? I can see the pros and cons to both, but yeah, I think there are ways you can achieve the same thing for less, right? And so that's what I would advocate for, is finding a way to achieve the same quality of education by going to a public school in a really good district, and maybe supplementing the education further with some additional out-of-school activities or tutors, which again, much cheaper than a private school, and give your child the one-on-one attention that they need. So yeah, that's sort of my thoughts on the situation. Luke Dragon Flame, I don't know about the Samuel Leeds Financial Challenge, gonna check that out. Good call out. App Factory, Dalton says the benefit of private schooling is networking with high-income families of people. Dalton, you know what? I thought the same thing. Honestly, when I went to the Richard Ivey School of Business, and I went to school with kids like the McCains and the Desmauriers and all the richest kids. Like one of the cousins of the McCains was in my class in my year, and I ended up making really good friendships with those people. But there is some truth to that. Some of the networking, there is some definite truth to that. I think that if your son or daughter is driven the way I was, people like that reach out to me now through social media, and that when you're crushing whatever it is that you're doing, people will reach out to you, and you can make those. I go out to networking events where those same people are at, and I get that same connection without actually having to go to a private school, right? You go where do the private school kids go to play soccer or whatever? Go to that league and play soccer with them. There are ways to get those same connections without spending the money, but there's definitely some advantage to that, I guess. I do agree in some regard to that. In my case, I'm just gonna unlock enough wealth and make enough connections. I think that my daughter will be okay. Without you don't need connections to be successful in life. It does help. There's no doubt it helps, but you don't need it. I don't think to be successful. So, Batwood says, and people can choose to live somewhere to be able to use public school. Move. Yep, exactly. I have rental properties too, like all of the cities, so I can just change my address to one of those and just say I live in that district. So it's super easy to get into whatever school I want for my daughter. Guys and gals, if you found value so far, hit that like button. The more interaction, the more YouTube will promote Mike. Jonas, thank you so much. Appreciate that. It is totally 100% true. The more this video gets shared on places like Reddit is a big one, on private blog networks and things like that, and in Facebook groups and stuff like that, like my group Fired Up Finance. I also have another group, London on Fire, but the Fired Up Finance group is a place for entrepreneurs, real estate. You can just jump on there and share whatever you want. If you ask to join the Fired Up, it's F-I-R-E-D Up Finances, or Finance, you can go check that out. Fired Up Finances is a place you can go and we can chat about all this stuff. You can literally get direct message to me. I watch it pretty actively, so if you want to get a hold of me, that'd be a cool way to get a hold of me. Luke Dragonflame says, Mike, let's just say I had $35,000 and I bought one HMO in the UK and the house cost $105,000. How do I cover the cost of the rest of the money? So Luke, you could borrow the money as a private mortgage. You could go and get the rest of the money as just a mortgage with the bank. You could put a mortgage on it from just an individual, like go to an investor like myself and say, hey Mike, I got this really good deal. It's $105,000. It's worth $125,000 or $150,000. I've got 35. I can't come up with the rest. The bank won't lend me for whatever reason. I have no income to service. Let's say hypothetically, would you lend me the rest as a secured mortgage against the property? 100%. I would probably say yes, especially if I went and saw the values to be true between $150,000 value with comparables and $105,000 you're buying it for. If there's that much spread, 100% I would invest in that. It's fairly safe. If you defaulted, I could just take the house, right? So there'd be no risk to the investor. That's how you set it up, right? You raise the capital relatively quick. You can do it with no money if you know the right investor and you get the right deal. If someone in London, Ontario calls me right now with a property that's worth 200, they got under contract for 200, or they know someone who's selling a property for 200, and basically they can say, hey Mike, I got this property for 200 and it's worth 300. Would you put up all the capital right now and give me 40% of the profit? I'd probably say yes. If they did most of the work, yeah, I would give them 40% of all the cash flow and all the upside, and I'd provide all of the money. They provide no money. Because people think capital is more scarce than it is, but when you talk to people who actually have money, money is not that important. What is important is the deal. What is important is the effort, the management, trusting people, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I mean, not in every market it doesn't always work, but you know what? This model works in every market. I know people in Toronto buying $2 million houses for $1.6 million privately. You can crush in any market. These principles work in any market. They don't allow cash flow in every market. You might have to twist your strategy, use Booking.com, use Airbnb, short-term rentals. You might have to go with a student rental approach. They cram a bunch of students in. There are ways to cash flow in any market. People think it's not possible. It is possible. I know people in Toronto buying $4 million three-bedroom houses that are still cash flowing. So you can do it. You just got to find the angle, find the way. There are people in every market doing this. So I don't want to hear how. I don't want to hear I can't. I want to hear how do I do it? I don't know how. What question do I need to ask to figure out the solution? Channel Fancy, good to see that you came here because the comment. Awesome. Those timestamps would be clutch. Yeah, Mr. Beefy, that'd be so sweet if someone wanted to do that. Hey, Mike, how would someone go about property investing in the UK? Danielle Mirza, good question. They would start by locking up, you could go rent out a property and start from there, right? There are a lot of, check out some videos. I did a playlist on how to begin investing in real estate where I talked about this thing called MIC. It's still on my board right there, M-I-C-K. So check that out as a place to start, but I'll be happy to do a whole video on that. There are a couple videos on how to begin investing in real estate and sort of videos that sort of lay out different strategies you can take with rent to owns or learn how to wholesale or how do you get started investing in real estate. Snake Eyes 11, good to see you on. This is your first comment today, but you usually always pop on. Do you buy the materials for contractors? How do you find good contractors and discounted materials? I'm really good at finding deals, so I'm good at negotiating really good deals on properties. That's just been my thing, and I'm good at finding contractors who don't care as much about the money and care more about having a consistent, stable salary, because that's one thing I provide. You find the things that, like, you don't want the greedy contractor. I don't want to deal with someone like that. It's just not my thing. It's a good question. I watch these anyway, so I can do the timestamps for them all if you'd like. That would be so huge, TJ. I would actually love that. That would be so amazing. I would call you out 100%. Whatever you want, I would do that. That'd be awesome. My Kiong Yu says, I have a steady income as a teacher, but I'll have to work 20 more years to retire. Well, I love teaching kids. I need extra income or to change my career. Oh yeah, teachers get amazing pensions here in Canada. It's a fantastic job. You can retire early. I mean, anyone can retire on a $50 or $60 or $70,000 a year salary if they learn to become very frugal and invest very wisely. I actually know a teacher who is a really awesome real estate investor, has a lot of properties and does property management on the side because they get off school at like 3 o'clock and they hustle in the evenings. So there's no excuse. On average, how long after closing on a house do you have it completely rented out? Before it closes. I put a condition in all of my offers that gives me the right to show the property with 24 hours notice to any prospective tenant that I want. So on a 30 or 60 day close, I will rent out the property. I will have first and last month's rent in my bank account to use towards the down payment. That's how you close real estate. Don't rent your properties out after, have them rented out before. Sell the dream before it closes. Cash flow from day one. There's a pro tip, just saved you a couple grand. A lot of people hold that information back. I hold nothing back. John Doe says, how did you learn to renovate a home, electrical, plumbing, replacing tile, floors, etc., drywall? John, just through experience. I hired contractors, worked with them, learned how to do it on my own first property at 19, and then I probably didn't get proficient with renovating until I was about 24. Now I'm 26 today. So just time in. It's the best way. Watching YouTube videos, you can learn too how processes and things are done. If I come across a task I don't know how to solve, I just Google it and find out how to do that. Really got to wrap this up. We're over 102 minutes now. I also have a single income. I need help with a financial COA. Yeah, I mean, you can still get loans. Convince the seller to a vendor, take back, a vendor, buy back 2 sentences. That's right. Dalton says, do you plan on living very simply forever? Is there a net worth level where you'll start treating yourself, buying your dream home, dream car? I have a dream house. I guess probably 10 million. If I had a net worth of 10 million, which would mean my passive income would be well over $1 million a year forever for perpetuity, because my portfolio generates like 20% rate of return. So I could withdraw 10% from that safely forever and never deplete the principal and continue to grow with inflation. So I guess at that point I would have to spend a little bit, but honestly, I don't like I have more than I need. I'm more comfortable than I need really right now. So it's more just for the fun of it to experience a nicer car, but I don't need those things. I'd rather spend that money on helping people in my community or giving back to you guys, spending thousands of dollars on camera equipment and stuff like that and video editing and that sort of stuff. Just I get more value from that than from the fancy things, but that's just me. Smart move from the TV buy, amen. How do you find wholesale properties? Rusco321. That's a whole other video on how to find deals, but privately through places like Kijiji and door knocking and flyers. Dawn is an awesome call out. Congrats on your 40, buddy. Don't think I've ever seen you hit this many on your channel yet. Hey, thanks, appreciate that. Rusco321, drop this in the comments of this video after and I will give you a bit of a response. I want to do a video specifically on finding private deals another time. I do want to do a video on that, but it's a whole video really on how to find really good deals on properties because it's a long process. Yeah, that's a whole video. I don't have time to do the whole spiel on that. TJ Bjorkland says, thanks for answering the question. I'm already in my 3rd year, so I've taken most of the debt. I don't have the credentials, so I haven't finished yet. I've already taken the advice and started applying it now for my final year. Thanks for the advice and answering the questions. Hey, no problem. If I can help you get your living costs down to 0, that's huge. At the end of the day, I think that's something that's going to help you really get your living costs down, and then working a part-time job to subsidize your education. You can graduate debt-free, which is huge, 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 huge. TJ Burton says, thanks for streaming. I'll go through and timestamp the questions and moments. Do you want me to go through others and provides timestamps for those as well? TJ, that'd be so huge if you did want to do that. There's probably 30 of these live streams or 29 or something, 30 weeks I've been doing this. So that would be so huge. TJ says, dang that at home. I've almost gone pro in League of Legends, but I think I'm gonna have to just give it up. Yeah, I was ranked gold 4 in like season 4 of League of Legends. So I do enjoy gaming and I do well at it, but you gotta spend the time and I'm just out of it now. So I can't keep up with the champ rotations and all that now. The meta is always changing in those games. So Gabriel says, MMORPG is great learning for basic economics and trade. 100% agree with that. That is 100% true. I really have to go. My wife's waiting for me. I'll do one more minute, I promise. I'm coming up for bath time. Mike got rid of about $150,000 of college loans, paid off about $23,000 in the last 6 months, but a lot from odd jobs. Started a personal training business and doing pretty well. That's awesome, man. Awesome. Getting tired of paying loans, though, thinking after this year I might want to get into real estate. Still live at home, though, and save to buy a rental. What do you think? I'm in Michigan, but around my area. Yeah, I mean, like pay down the debt, obviously. You've accrued the debt. You can't change what's already happened. So don't beat yourself up over it. Just say, what can I do going forward to make a better choice in my life to basically improve the way that I am doing X or Y, right? So in your specific scenario, working really hard at a full-time job to save the money to pay on the debt is huge. You can still get into real estate investing too, even with some debt. It's not like you can't get into real estate investing. So that's awesome. I'm trying to get through all these questions. Is there 20% annual portfolio purely from property or stocks and other streams as well? Any chance you could expand your entire portfolio? Yes, Daniel, I would be happy to expand on it. Most of it's from real estate investing and leverage. So when you buy real estate, you buy 5 to 1. So you put 20% down payment and the bank puts 80%. You're buying 80% loan to value, 20% down payment on the property. The bank effectively puts $4 in for every one of your dollars. So when you're controlling an asset that has, say, I know I'm coming, my girl. I'm coming. I gotta really wrap this up, guys. When you're controlling an asset 5 to 1, so you're controlling a $1 million asset for $200,000 down payment as an example, or a $100,000 asset for $20,000 down payment, you get the return. If your return on asset for the whole asset is say 10%, right? 10%, if you're levered 5 to 1, you put 20% down, you're going to have effectively a 40% rate of return because of leverage. So leverage makes real estate so attractive. You can borrow so cheaply. That's why I love real estate. You can't do it with any other type of equity. She really wants me. You can see her shadow there. She wants me to come out. Do you want to invest in Metro Detroit? Maybe. Like Windsor's only a 2-hour drive for me, so it's possible if you found a good enough deal. Detroit's a rough market though, so I gotta be very, very careful. I don't have the systems or the people in place. I have trades in place here in London, so I'm mostly buying in London because I have the connections and the trades and the infrastructure to really put deals together here. Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to go live again. That's right, I gotta go. New sub, but love the content. Awesome, welcome. Check out all the videos, and I'm happy to drop more videos on that. All these questions, if I didn't answer your questions sufficiently, drop it down in the comments or send me an Instagram DM. If you drop it in the comments in this video, I promise to respond to it later. That's right, next Wednesday. I'll see you all next Wednesday. I seriously have got to go. All right, I'm gonna wrap this up now. This video door's locked too. Emma! All right, I'm done. Happy New Year, everyone. I'll see you on next week. Woohoo! How do I end this thing? There we go. End. Bye, everyone.